Hello Guardians and Assassins, and I hope we're all having a wonderful day today, and welcome to another episode of Crucible School. So, the first question that everybody should always have is, what are we going to learn about today? Well, that's going to be a little bit hard to describe, so I'll do my best though. There is a little bit of defensive grenade usage, air awareness, elusiveness, and a mixture between, baiting is mentioned in there, but it's not what you think it is. Now, it's also going to be mentioned a little bit about aggressive plays. Why? Because aggressive plays are pretty much how you chain your kills. And how you chain your kills is what makes the flowers grow. I mean, come on, everybody loves flowers, right? So, you gotta chain those kills together. That way, you make Shax happy, and you get him to say some really, really awesome stuff. So, keep in mind those are at the higher levels of chaining kills, though. So if you get, like, you have your doubles, you have your triples, and then you have your lights out, and then you get him to say some really, really, really creative stuff. Now,
Iron Banner
this
control.
map really isn't too good on some of the topics that I mentioned, but, you guys should basically get the point of it. Now, if you guys notice that a majority of the time when I go to enter into an area, I either make sure that I'm going in very, very quickly, or I make sure that I'm in the air. Now, that is a key thing. It's human nature not to look up, guys. It's human nature. So, by you being in the air, you are now an anomaly that the other players can't wrap their heads around fast enough, because they have to take their time to readjust their sights, aim it in on your critical spot, which would be your head, and, land their shots as you're falling. Now, you got to keep in mind, the second that you're in the air and you turn that corner, you're able to rain down bullets on these guys like there is no tomorrow. The reason why is because you have one area to shoot at, and that is pretty much the top of their head, making making your crit area a little bit easier to hit, because there isn't anything else around it. I mean, you can hit some shoulder shots. I mean, that's kind of rare. Most of the time, the game, because of aim assist, will count it as a headshot. So what you got to do is you got to be in the air. So now, guys, we've been talking about Emperor's Respite now for almost 3 weeks. These people still have learned their lesson. I mean, I'm still sitting here trying to fight down the same hallway. They're still sitting there trying to fight down the same hallway. And so I'm sitting here going, you know what, I know how this is going to play out. So what I do is I pulled out my Might of multi-tool to be able to get a little bit more range and hopefully get my shots off fast enough. But as you guys can tell here in a minute, that doesn't exactly work out, the way that it's planned. Which, it happens sometimes. So, see, there you go. Didn't work out as planned. So, we are going to resort to option 2. Option 2 is to get super, super aggressive on these people because they're using Might of multi-tools. Might of multi-tools, there's one weakness to it, and that's to get real, real close to them, because they don't like being so close, hence why they're using a Might. Why would you use a weapon that can cross-map people if you don't want to cross-map people? Makes no sense. So, and just to give you guys a heads up, the Positive Outlook and the Uriel's Gift actually do have the same exact ranges of 70. So it does not matter if you use a Positive Outlook or a Uriel's Gift. Keep in mind, Positive Outlook might have, a little bit further range for the damage fall off, but pretty much both of them are maxed out at 70. Now, what I'm doing is I'm making a distraction for these people good enough to where my teammates can, make a couple different moves. They can continue to shoot across, they could push across if they needed to, they could advance from a different area, as you see my two teammates to the left there doing. And, they're doing pretty good. Basically, you want to keep this enemy spinning in circles. The reason why is because you can't hit something you don't know where to aim at. Now, this guy just tried to warrior somebody with a grenade launcher. I don't understand that, but that's okay. But the one thing that he did not look at is he did not look in the air. This guy right here, he saw me jump into the air, but if you guys watched his head, he didn't look up. A lot of these people, the second that you get in the air, you become invisible to them because they don't like to look up. Because as I said, once again, it's human nature not to look up. So is it being elusive when you're jumping in the air? No, I don't think so. I think it's more being creative on how to get your first shots off. And that's really what matters here, guys. Now, the aggressiveness that I was talking about, the aggressiveness is actually to counterbalance the use of the Might of Multi-tool going down this, this hallway of death here that we've talked about multiple times. So that's pretty much it for elusiveness and air awareness, baiting, things of that nature. Now, guys, you also have to keep in mind, if you haven't noticed, that Titan used his grenade in a very, very offensive, nature by throwing the grenade directly at me. But if you notice, if you guys ever watch, when I go to throw a grenade, if I'm trying to take a point, I will throw the grenade directly at the base of the pole where the point, where the flag is on the point. The reason why is because it covers such a large area that it's very, very hard for an enemy to stand on the point and not take damage from the grenade at the exact same time. Keep in mind, guys, as long as you stay alive, your abilities seem to last a little bit longer. So if you toss a grenade back up and just kind of chill out, then it's a different scenario. Now, if you take a look at what I just did with the tether, it was very, very similar to the same thing that I was doing with the grenades. I leaped into the air to make sure they didn't exactly know where I was at, as well as released my tether. The reason I released my tether is because you guys are witnessing all the mayhem and everything else that's going on because of the simple fact that I released the tether over here. It was pretty much pushing them all the way back to where they were in the first place, which they're not exactly comfortable with, because you got to keep in mind, guys, even though it looks like just looks like a pretty even, gunfight here, you guys need to keep in mind we are getting 2 points for every kill, and they are only receiving 1, because we control A and we control B. Now, this team is a little bit of a smarter team because they decided to go after B after a little while. But luckily enough, the team that I'm with is good enough to actually, make sure that they don't get their hands on B for too long at least. So, overall today, guys, what did we learn? We learned a little bit about air elusiveness. The reason why is because the longer you are in the air, the less time that people are actually going to look up and watch. Now, guys, you need to keep in mind this is not the same thing for a warlock in in the what do you call it? The their flame bird thing. I don't know. I don't like clothies. Anyways. Either way, you have to keep in mind, guys, they are pretty much a giant floating fireball in the middle of the sky. Now that's a little bit hard to hide from, guys. But if you're in the air and you're not a giant floating, warlock, basically a moving target, it's gonna make it a little bit harder for people to realize exactly where you are. So, if there's anything that comes out of this, hopefully you guys can actually take that. And I hope you guys are getting a little bit more of the hang of flanking people. You guys saw me do a flank, cause a distraction while they flank the other side at the same time. Getting hit from 3 directions at once isn't always pleasant. Well, either way, guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you enjoyed what you heard today, go ahead and leave a comment. If you like what you heard today, go ahead and hit the like button. If you never want to miss another episode of Crucible School, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And guys, if you want to know the second that this content comes out, go ahead and hit that notification bell. Just give you guys a heads up. Hey, if you are the type of binge watcher, that likes to binge watch all their shows at the end of the week, well, then don't hit the notification bell, because I try my best to release content roughly, once a day, sometimes twice a day, but lately it's been once a day, and that's been a little bit rough on me as well. But either way, guys, we'll keep chugging and keep doing what we're doing, and I will see you guys in the next Crucible School.
Do you like it better when Lord Shax oversees these matches? So do I. A busy Shax is a quiet Shax.